Oh, that. There you go.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wade and Carter Show. Ash, Brent, Commander, all here for your listening and viewing pleasure and enjoyment this morning. Glad you're here. We're glad. Mark Hurst, Bobby Leiser, Scott Tomko on the podium this
That's
morning.
three good-looking men right there that I know well.
And glad you're on the podium. Glad everybody else checking in. Ricky King, Greg Garcia, Stephanie Connie, Lisa Poole.
That's two
Dr.
dudes
Strauss.
and two chicks that I know well.
Linda Christ, Michelle Hawkins. You want to get in on the good morning recognition? Watch on Facebook, watch on YouTube. Thanks to everybody on the No Bull Network, hearing great things from the feedback of the listeners in the No Bull region. So we're glad you're with us, as well as everybody on the Mothership Magic 95.9. Great show. We're going to talk Corpus Christi water issues and see how this could impact our region if we ever end up in a similar situation and struggle for water.
Right? We're in it. It's like when Donald Trump said, we're in a trade war with China. We're just losing. Remember that?
Yeah.
Now we're in a water problem because we can't just go to our friends in Jackson County and get water out of that non-existent lake over there. You want to give your kids a geography lesson, just go drive towards Ganado and see where the lake used to be.
Yeah.
Hello, John Paul Hull. I'm very excited about this. The gentleman we're going to visit with, and I'm going to ask him. I think it's Pusley, Mike Pusley, I believe. Good morning, David Ballard. And
Said Stewart.
Mike is a lifelong Corpus. Would you say Corpus Christian? Corpus Christian. He's from the Corpus community. Went to Roy Miller High School. Yada yada yada. And I think he's going to become a fast friend of the program. I think he's going to be just right. He's been an at-large city council member. He's been on a stormwater planning committee. He's been a commissioner twice. He's commissioner for a long period of time. Did you hear the door? Because that might be Tommy Kingston, which would be great. We get him in here.
Should I lock it or let him in?
Junior
let him in,
Samples,
sure.
good morning. Tammy Keeling, Scott Tomko. Who else is in that we haven't said hi to?
Zed
Andrew
Stewart. I
Alvarez,
haven't
John Paul
seen-
Hull.
Have you seen Zed Stewart in a while? I
Have not.
I have not.
James Kurth says
that's
desalination plants, they work. Stop saying it's too expensive. We have had them on Navy ships for years.
There you go.
Well,
James Kurth, simplifying life as we know it.
I want to find out if the accusations from Governor Abbott, that $750 million that was given to Corpus Christi was squandered. So we'll have that conversation
on in.
coming up
It's a working
bottom of the
studio.
hour.
I love this. Let's do, Cody, you're in charge of camera. Hello, brother.
Howdy, Tommy.
We're going to get you right over here, right up against that mic. Oh, yeah, you look
Look
sharp.
at that. He dusted it off just for
Get
today.
right up against that microphone.
That's in like a cabinet for him.
Yeah, he's got that's a good looking cap. Let me tell you something. Look at there. You're live, thousands of people. Introduce, you guys hear him all the time on the show. He's always got great comments. This is our, for me, lifelong friend. I've known Tommy Kingston since probably the late 60s.
Absolutely.
Growing up together at Northside Baptist Church.
Yep.
So many, it was like they said when you and I were kids, we were, what do they say? We were drug a lot. We were part of the drugs. We were drugged to church.
No.
Drugged to church every day. Drugged to church every week.
I can say that I've never known a judge
There you go.
other than a doctor prescribed. That's it.
Well, I'm thinking about us getting drugged to church. That was
yeah, there
the
you
deal.
go. Yeah.
But so you're here, and by the way, we say it all the time, but big, commendation for being a tireless supporter of the foundation, and you guys do such a great job. Over 600 kids taking on hunting trips, fishing trips, things they could certainly not do on their own, and things they might only get to do once in their lifetimes as they battle serious disease. I don't like to say that the foundation is like anything, because to me it's unlike anything I've been around, and yet you could think Make-A-Wish, you could think several other types. The one thing I know about the Beverly Woods Hunting and Fishing for Kids Foundation is it's like every dollar goes back to the kids.
Absolutely.
And the parents and the hosts, the people that go with them on the trips, don't ever pay a dime. Step up a little closer to that microphone and tell our audience how they can help.
Well, we are having our fundraiser. It'll be next Saturday. And I had to take a sabbatical for a couple of years because my wife had some health issues. So they had moved it to Nixon, but the plans are to be back here next year because the most money we've ever raised at one fundraiser was right here.
Yeah, and I know you championed that, and at a time when the folks they're from Tennessee, aren't they?
Yes, it's based out of Tennessee.
And they were like, Tommy, look, okay, look, you're a great guide, and you take care of kids. And Victoria, Texas. Why would we come to Victoria, Texas? And then you did, and the turnout was amazing, and the revenue was great.
It was outstanding. We had Sun Valley, which was good because there was a lot of photo ops. If you've ever gone out there, you've seen the animals from everywhere all over the world. And the kids got the good pictures. They had a fishing tournament out there. So it just offered so much more for them to go out there. And what we did was just unbelievable.
So the one you got this weekend is in Nixon?
It is going to be in Nixon this year. Like I say, I had gotten away, so they just moved over there. But the plans are we're coming back.
Coming back next year?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, we'll promote it and do whatever we can to make it happen. So how are you? How's everybody?
Well, doing good. We took 636 kids, 11 years as of the 15th that we've been an organization. We have no corporate sponsors, you have mentioned before. We're just a bunch. Well, we've got board members all over the United States, so that helps. If we get a hunt here, we got a closer board member that could go there,
sir.
And it saves money. Our main thing is we want to get these kids and a parent or a guardian on a hunt, and so to make sure we can accommodate them financially when we get them a flight. It may be a stop or two, but it saves the foundation money,
right?
So that we could get money to take more kids, And so we're starting to get more and more calls and people reaching out to us for their kids. And you and I have talked a little bit. Our plans this year is to take both of you guys on a hunt with us, either together as a separate, so you can
Please,
see.
separately would be great.
I wouldn't be the same.
Unless I want you to.
I got to be on his right side, though.
What if I just gave Ash a head start?
Well, but we want y'all to see, because if
Zig and
anybody,
zag.
if anybody could go with us and see what happens when we're on these adventures, you would say, wait a minute, I need to help contribute to this.
Right.
It's kind of like, I don't want to really compare it, but it's like, you see the pets on TV, help, sponsor them, and I feel sorry for the pets.
Absolutely.
And we don't want to do that with our kids, but we just really, if you could
I think
see.
it'd be a great opportunity not only to come back and talk about it, but also to chronicle it while we're there and put something together that way as well.
Well, if you remember, on the 100-day speech that the president gave, he honored a little boy with brain cancer, and he actually got some bad cancer too. I took him on his first hunt.
Oh, really?
And that's DJ out of Houston. And my grandson and him were playing. I got to take my grandson. And his dad looked at me and said, I haven't seen I haven't seen my son play like that in years. And they just
had fun. Get them out of that hospital environment. Get them out of that. Get them not thinking about their troubles.
And what was funny about that was he was sworn to hear about the sheriff's department and the police department.
Yeah.
So we were sitting in the front at the courthouse, and he saw my grandson, and he just stopped everything that's going on and went and hugged him right in the middle of his story.
You remember that child, don't you?
And so it's just, it's a great organization. The hard part is when we lose kids.
No doubt.
And I had to do a service for a boy that I took with cancer and that passed away.
Aside from those two stories, do you have just one that I said, well, give me an example of? Do you have one that jumps to the front that you met a kid from somewhere and took him somewhere, or her?
It just happened this past year. I took a little boy to Missouri. He was a black child with a white parent. And it was just amazing, the love this little boy had for his daddy. And he has been through more than just cancer. He's been through some separated loss. And it was just amazing the way they just loved on each other.
That's awesome.
And it's go. I got one more that's a good one too. We had taken a boy to Alaska fishing, and so when he came back, I took the little brother to hunt a deer. He got him a little buck. So later on, the mom called me. She said, "Hey, Tommy, guess where we're at?" I says, "Where?" She says, "We're in Alaska." I said, "Did y'all move up there?" And I said, did you go fishing? She says, no. We moved up here because I wanted to get my boys out of the Dallas hoods where they were living.
There you go.
And so, and they're living up there. She got a job and a house. Kids are having all got elk laying in their front yard and things like that. So,
Well,
Don't
we've
go
seen
pet
it.
the elk. That's my word of advice to you.
No, they're all cute when
Yeah.
they're 100 yards away.
How can people help? Fundraisers next weekend
Well-
in Nixon. So what do you need? And people to show up, people to donate items, people just to give money to help it go?
yes, well, the main thing is we have been trying for years to get a corporate sponsor because we don't have one. And the money we raise is just, I call a bunch of redneck guys going in there and working and digging in the dirt, get this money. So we've talked before, we'd like to have, if somebody would be interested to donate an SUV or four-wheeler, zero turn, anything that could be a larger
Right.
item that we could auction off or whatever. And that would really be the big help. But we're always looking for donations, monetary, or things we can sell next week at the fundraiser.
There you go. And tell folks how they can get in touch with you or with the foundation.
Okay, my number is 361-645-4743. And with every donation that you do get a 501c3 because we are nonprofit.
There you go. Yeah, it's a registered nonprofit organization. 361
I got it right
645
4743.
4743.
And we'll come to your house, come make it easy to pick up things for you. Just reach out to me and I'll come and get.
No, Ash and I are blessed to do, I guess, advertising, if you will, promotion, support for a number of organizations. I've never been around a more selfless and like accommodating group than y'all's group. From the very top of leadership, when the gentlemen come in from the family,
Right.
they're just like they're just so gracious. You know, Ash, what I'm talking about.
No,
They're just
absolutely.
like, man, just thank y'all. You know, and I'm like, they're just good old boys doing a good turn to make their family
How's
proud.
Kent doing? Good?
Yeah, that's what I call us the redneck guys
Yeah.
because we just get in there and get
Well,
after
it is. It's kind of like Duck Dynasty meets the American Red Cross.
Exactly,
you know,
yeah.
it's like they're the nicest people on the planet. Yeah.
But I did also, y'all are kind of like,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the closest to burnt orange I could
I
get.
love that.
And this is the closest colors to your school.
There you
There
go.
you go.
No,
Thank you.
that's
Appreciate
got
that.
a little Washington State going. Look at that. I'm going to show people that. That's pretty cool. That is
we go.
awesome.
And I got this hat at a state sale for $9, but if you sign it, I can sell it for $12. So
You might be able to sell it for $5 if we
Awesome.
sign it.
Awesome. Well, hey, man, you know, you're always welcome. You're always encouraged. Our audience always responds well to this organization. And I remember one year you had the pastor, Hobbs,
Yeah.
his granddaughter.
we took her.
Oh, just, you know, and we've lost her.
And that was, I went to the funeral.
Yeah,
and
that was tough.
When you lose these kids, it's really hard.
No doubt, because you invest your heart into them. And it's very obvious, sir, that your heart's in the right place.
I appreciate that.
I love you. You're my brother.
Appreciate you guys.
Hey, we always appreciate you coming in, and you just come back. Anytime you have an update, it always makes us feel good.
And
So
I'll do a follow-up after
Please.
to tell you how that turned out.
let us know how
Sounds good.
things go
Yep.
in Nixon, and then we'll get you
And
back
I know
on here.
yesterday you posted you were still looking for a kid for a hunt,
I'm going to New Brunswick, Canada on a bear hunt.
and you need a kid for that one?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so if anybody of you know a kid who is facing a critical illness, maybe a life-threatening illness, and their time on this planet is not as long as we would like, but we have an opportunity to give them an opportunity of a lifetime, give Tommy a call.
Also, can say in closing, last year we had 2 hunts in Africa donated to us.
That's awesome. By the way, if you're a landowner, if you're somebody
Yeah.
who leases, if you've got management deer, I got to go kill a couple of deer. Man, Tommy can put that to use for a family locally, somebody close by. And if you're in the No Bull Network, you know, they can arrange it and they'll take care of everything. I'm talking about the snacks on the way to the event. They can hunt. They'll take care of cleaning up all the meat. They'll feed the kid, the whole thing.
And we have $1 million policy covering the ranch when we take a child out there.
There you
So
go.
there you
They'll
go.
give
They're
a
insured as
certificate
well.
insuring you as well. Tommy, thank you as always. I'm going to put up a sign here to get you through the day.
Thank you so
We're
much.
going to put the softball team back together. You better start loosening up those hamstrings.
Well, I'm still playing.
There you go. We love you, brother.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
Thank you, Tommy.
We'll see you, buddy. Palace Bingo, folks, where friends meet friends. Get into Palace Bingo. Bye, bro. Get into Palace Bingo and support 7 local charities. Man, what a great organization.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that Tommy found us long ago, and it's really been a great partnership.
And it really has been, yeah.
Palace Bingo, where friends meet friends. Veracruz, today is Chicken Fried Friday. You know, we could donate a hunt. We could get paintballs and let the kids shoot at Commander Cody. Why not? You know, Tommy's going to take that kid out there.
I'm going to be gone that day, a sick day.
Tommy's going to cover that kid in grape jelly, put him out there by a tree. When that bear walks out, Tommy's going to shoot it. Unbelievable. No, it's a fantastic organization. And we've searched, and I've never found any fault. Let's see what we got here.
Okay.
I wonder if that was our guest.
I don't know. Could have been there early.
He's early if it's him.
Get into the chopping block. Going to be a nice weekend for a lot of folks heading out of town for start of spring break. So if you're in that boat, get to the chopping block, load up with all the meat you're going to need to grill and cook while camping this weekend. Or if you're just going to be hanging around here, no better place to stock up on all your grilling meats than the chopping block, plus your seasonings, salsas, everything else that they have.
It's ringing on my end.
Yeah.
Michael, good morning, sir. Can you hang on 1 second? Sure. You can hear us. Okay, I want to make sure our audience can hear you. And how's that? Try that, Mike. All right, say something there, Michael.
Hello.
There
Good morning.
you are, my brother. Okay, give us just a minute. We're wrapping up a break, and that'll give us the opportunity to visit with you as long as you want. USA Concrete Coatings are based right there in Corpus Christi. 578 Home. That's the local number, 361-578-HOME. Charlie Garcia and his team will come out and assess your concrete needs. They can level your foundation. They can level your driveway, seal the cracks, put down a tough as nails coat that won't.
Crack stick, peel or fade.
There you go. Let's just cut through all that and get right
Morning,
to our
Jackie
guest.
Parsons. Morning, Marina. Folks, glad to be joined by Michael Pusley, who's a commissioner in Nueces County, and we're going to talk water. So with that, welcome to the show, sir. Glad you're joining us.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
How are things in Corpus Christi this morning?
Well, I guess okay, other than we're running short of water.
Yeah, but you know, I went back and I read your resume. By the way, congratulations on 52 years of marriage. Now, your website only says 47. You need to update that before your wife sees it.
Yeah, yeah, true. That's true.
You've been a long time. I know you're a graduate of Miller High School. So are both of my parents, but in the 50s.
Wow.
And
awesome.
my mom and dad graduated in 55 and 56, I believe.
Once a buck, always a buck.
There you go. And but you've served in so many ways. You've been on the stormwater committee, and you've been a city council member. And basically, Ash and I looked at your resume through the years and decided that in theory we could just blame you for all this. I mean, I'm looking at all the stuff that's going on. I mean, look at here. Let's just go back and go through the body of work. Board of Trustees, Toloso Midway High School, 86 to 94. But Corpus Christi Stormwater Advisory Committee in 97 to 01. Corpus Christi Planning Commission. Now look, 01 to 07. Nueces County Commissioner for 9 years or 10 years from 09 to 18, and then an at-large city council member, and now back as a county commissioner. And I make the joke really just to say, you've been involved in this, and it seems to me, just recently, you called for the city council to hold an emergency meeting and move forward with great haste to build a desal plant or solve this problem. And it seems to me they ought to listen to you. So can you just go back a little bit? I know it's redundant for you folks, but just kind of tell us how this came about and where you think we really are right now.
Well, thank you very much. So I was elected to the city council as an at-large city council member in 2020. the only reason I agreed to serve on the city council was a group of businessmen came to me and said, we really need somebody to get on there and help push the city across the goal line as far as getting a water supply that was not dependent upon how much it rained, and specifically a desalination project. And the city had been talking about doing it for years, but they just never could, make a decision about what they wanted to do. So I got elected and we started talking about it. And so by the time I finished my tenure on the council, which was only 4 years, we had put together a desalination project in the inner harbor of Corpus Christi, referred to as the ship channel. And it was a desal plant that would make a maximum of 30 million gallons of potable water per day. And we hired Kiewit Construction to build it. We got a $750 million loan from the state of Texas. And so they started the project, started the design project. We secured a piece of property that Flint Hills owned, and we bought that piece of property from them for a location for the plant. And then I left the council and went back to the county commissioner's court, and the new council that came in after me decided that they didn't want to spend the money that was allocated to do the desal plant, and they canceled the project.
Now, is this where the governor is a little bit irritated that, Corpus either whatever he says they did
Squandered?
He says they squandered $750 million. Where did the money go?
Well, they've only squandered, fortunately, part of it, but the $750 million came to Corpus Christi through a low interest loan from the Water Development Board of the state of Texas. And so for the design work and permitting and all the things that we had to do, we spent about probably $30 million of that 750.
That's not bad.
And so, yeah, I mean, it's expensive. All the engineering and everything that went into it, buying the property. So we still had a large amount and so this was a design build project. And when Kiewit came in they were at the 10% design phase. They came in and told the city that right now the estimates to build the plant had escalated to about 1.2 billion, but that they felt certain that as they progressed forward, that they would get that price down to where the city could afford it, because during the design build project you can do value engineering where you go in and you figure out where you can cut costs. But the council decided they didn't want to do that process, so they killed it. And they then went to the state of Texas Water Development Board and tried to get them 3 different times to let the city spend that money on whatever they wanted to spend it on, and the Water Development Board kept saying no.
Right.
That money is dedicated for that desal project only. And so the city has been, the current city council has been trying, and when I say that the city council, there were 5 members that really killed the project. So that's 9-member council. 5 of the council members decided that they didn't want to do this anymore. 2 of the council members were on there when we did the project originally, and then there were 3 new ones, and they all got together and decided to kill the project.
And what was the reason for killing the project? Did they give a
They
legitimate reason, or just?
Well, they, as far as I'm concerned, it wasn't a legitimate reason, but they said that they thought that the $1.2 billion was too high. But, and everybody, the engineers kept telling them, look, this is part of the design build process. We will value engineer this as we go forward, and probably get the price down closer to the $750 million that, the city had to spend on the project.
Let me ask you this, just for perspective. We have several really great listeners that always have great questions, but 30 million gallons a day just give us the perspective of, is that 10% of Corpus's needs? Is it 30% of Corpus's needs on the daily basis? Get us in the ballpark of what they're, what are we accomplishing with that plant?
On a daily basis, the city of Corpus Christi sells about right at 100 million gallons of treated water per day.
Okay.
And that goes to Corpus Christi is a regional water provider for 7 counties and 500,000 people in all the surrounding cities.
Wow.
So there are a lot of people who depend upon about 50% of that water goes to residential customers, and the other 50% goes to commercial customers, everything from businesses up to the refineries in the Port of Corpus Christi.
Well, it's interesting because we have, of course, Victoria has what we call the barge canal, which ties us into the shipping. We send out some LNG and things like that, but
Sure.
A lot of dirt and gravel.
if you go down to Calhoun County in Port Lavaca, or I guess it's Point Comfort, you've got a port down there, and I know that those folks have been contacted by some of the quote unquote plants along the ship channel in Houston who have said, hey, I mean, in Corpus, who have said, if we can't get enough water, we're going to have to move. And
Oh, yeah.
how do we, because it's a dangerous spiral, right? All of a sudden your tax base starts to leave, and then you can't afford to build the water. But it almost seems like, dang it, we got to bite the bullet and do something right now. And I know that's what you've called for. How is that being received in Corpus? And if people are against it, what is their logic for being against it besides cost?
Well, when the governor came down, well, he wasn't here. He was at another event somewhere, and they asked him about the water situation in Corpus Christi. And he, when the council was deciding, the current city council, when they were deciding about what they were going to do about the project, he had his chief of staff call the council members and encourage them to, keep the project going. Because here's how important the Port of Corpus Christi is to the state of Texas. It's estimated that the Port of Corpus Christi brings $1 trillion of value to the state of Texas, because the Port of Corpus Christi is the largest exporter of products in the United States. And so it's an extremely important business for not only the state of Texas, but for the entire country. I mean, all the jet fuel that DFW utilizes comes from this port down here.
Well, and I think Donald Trump, when he was there, mentioned that it's the second largest oil
Yes.
refining center in the country,
Yes.
or in the
that's
world.
correct.
I can't remember exactly the scope of it, but it was not insignificant.
No, it's very important. So he had the chief of staff that worked for him, and we just all thought, well, surely they won't screw this up, and they did. They canceled it and angered the governor. I mean, when the governor sends his second, his,
No doubt.
his right hand person to call you, and you basically say, well, I don't think that's important. The governor was upset, and so when they interviewed him the other day about, what do you think about what's going on in Corpus Christi, he let the hammer down.
Yes, sir. In general, we have, if I were going to describe us, we're I think, objective, of interest news program, but we're also, no doubt, right-leaning. We've greatly supported Governor Abbott, and also acknowledge that Governor Abbott has his own agenda, and Governor Abbott often is somewhat czaristic. You're going to do it his way, or there's going to be hell to pay. Where does the congressman that we share, Michael Cloud, who I think does a great job, where does our congressman fit if he has the president's ear that the Port of Corpus Christi, for example, is a matter of national security, which we hear quite often? Why can't we get the feds involved and get some of the money that's been going to, say, fraud in Minnesota, and get that down here for water?
Well, that's an excellent question. As you know, Donald Trump visited Corpus Christi here.
We were there.
about-
Yes, sir.
Awesome. my wife and I were sitting on the second row from the stage.
Yes, you were
So
blocking my video. I want you. No, we were about 10 rows back, right there in the middle, and really, really enjoyed it.
yeah, it was a great deal. But as you probably heard, Congressman Cloud talked to the president on their trip down. They were on Air Force One together, and the congressman did ask the president for federal help and funding to help us get the project done. And so the president seemed to, and we had heard even before he came here that the word had gone out to him about the fact that the Corpus Christi industries here could be in trouble because of this water situation. Because guys, they've been predicting that by November of this year, if something didn't change, if we didn't have a major water source going, that we would be within 180 days of being out of water. Well, now they've recalculated and they think that November date is probably going to be moved up to maybe even as early as May of this year. And so it's a crisis. It's very critical. And as you probably saw if you listened to the tape, the governor is frustrated that the city has not made a decision, because when they canceled the Inner Harbor desal project, they thought that they were going to have the ability to bring on some groundwater projects. Well, that has all gotten stuck in the mud, excuse the pun, and none of those projects have been able to come to fruition. So they are now sitting there looking at groundwater projects that may be a year to year and a half away. And if they would have kept the desal project going, it would have been within a few months of being completed.
Well, explain, bring some context into that, because I think one of the Sinton commissioners or city council members was upset earlier this week because he had called for a meeting and everybody was in agreement, and all of a sudden this meeting got canceled last minute. Talk a little bit about that, because that was going to provide some groundwater relief from wells, correct?
Yeah, the city has purchased some property along the Nueces River, up north of the city of Corpus Christi, and they're drilling water wells along there, and the goal was to pump that water into the Nueces River, which is one of the primary sources of water for the city of Corpus Christi. And let me tell you just a little bit about our water situation as it is now. Several years ago, the city of Corpus made a deal with the water rights people for Lake Texana to build a pipeline from Corpus Christi to Lake Texana and purchase water there on a take or pay contract. And then we added another section to that and went up and tied in and purchased water from the lower Colorado River. And so that was supposed to be, a water supply that would help us through as we went along. Well, we have two lake reservoirs above Corpus Christi here that we own, and both of those are going dry because of the drought. And so anyway, the situation as it is today, because those reservoirs have almost dried up, we're now purchasing, of the 100 million gallons of water we need a day, 70 million of it is coming from Lake Texana.
Wow.
Well, Lake Texana is now in a drought situation, and
It's a pasture. I drove by there yesterday, and if you're on the north end of the lake, you have to really squint looking south.
You could pour a foundation and build homes there now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So Lake Texana, and when they get, they're now less than 60% of capacity of that lake. When it gets to 50%, there's an automatic 10% curtailment of water that the city of Corpus Christi will receive. So here shortly, we're going to be hit with a 7 million gallon a day shortage of the water that we're buying now. And so essentially 70% of our water that we're using today is coming through that pipeline. And if we cut off, they don't have anywhere to come up with the additional water, because these water wells that they're drilling that they thought they were going to get to pump into the Nueces River, there's been a number of protests filed with the TCEQ from landowners up in that area stating that they think that the city is going to deplete their water reservoirs that they all depend upon. People that are in the ranching business, cattle business, there's a dairy farm and they feel that the level that they're going to pump water out of the reservoirs up there are going to deplete their water wells. So anyway, the TCEQ has held up the permits on the city of Corpus Christi, and so they've drilled these wells, but they are not yet able to pump them into the river. So
let me tell them real quick, folks, if you're listening on any of our No Bull Network channels in Calhoun, DeWitt, Goliad, Gonzales, Karnes City, Atascosa, B, Frio, Jim Hogg, if you're listening on YouTube, if you're not watching the
KTMV
video,
in
we're
Victoria
visiting with
or in
Mr. Mike
Corpus?
Pusley. He's a lifelong Corpus resident and a multi-time Nueces County Commissioner, currently a county commissioner. Mike, if the problem, as I see it, is imminent, and if May looks like a drop dead date, given that we can't build a desal plant no matter how much money we have, what do you foresee as really happening in May? I mean, what's really going to happen?
well, here's what we've got to hope will happen. During the last legislative session, our newest freshman representative, Denise Villalobos, who the governor personally helped get elected here from South Texas, she went and got $46 million of funding to help the city of Corpus Christi drill these water wells. And that was supposed to be a temporary stopgap measure that would go in place until the desal plant was able to come online. And so that was what the whole plan was. And when they canceled the desal plant, that put the whole onus on these wells being drilled, which they've just now run into problems on. We've also, the city has made a deal with Valero Refining. Valero's going to start buying all of the affluent water that the city of Corpus Christi makes, which is about anywhere between 20 and 30 million gallons of affluent per day. They're going to buy that from the city to use for their water needs, but that's going to take about a year to a year and a half to put all the infrastructure in, pipelines and whatnot, to start picking up that water and pumping it into their plant. So when the governor said what he said, I went on my social media account and I said, the mayor, I said, we need to encourage the mayor of Corpus Christi to call an emergency meeting and have one item on that agenda, and that is to restart the desal project that they canceled. And lo and behold, when the mayor saw my social media page was flooded with people who thought that was the right thing to do. The mayor called me and she said, I'm going to do exactly that. She said, I'm calling an emergency meeting. She hasn't set the date for that, but I think it'll probably be sometime next week.
Is it as simple as we take water in at a big inlet out of the port/gulf and then just pump the brine right back in? Is that the angle?
Essentially that's true. And we've had the engineering that went in to do that project. We made the environmental regulations and the filtering and whatnot on that water more stringent than what they did in California on their big desal plants that they built. And so essentially the water in the brine is going to go back into the ship channel, and everybody keeps, the environmentalists are saying you're going to poison the bay system. Well, this desal plant is 2 miles back up inside the ship channel. It's not at the mouth of the bay. And the engineers have done what's called far field studies to show, okay, as you pump this brine back into the ship channel, what effect is that going to have? And their far field models that they've done, and they've done numerous ones with upwards of 800 million iterations of how this will work, shows that within 100 meters of that desal plant, you won't even know it's there.
Right. It just dissipates, I'm certain.
It just dissipates, and, the shipping that is in that ship channel going back and forth and, mixing the water and whatnot.
You watch, in no time at all, they'll go, an unanticipated fallout has been record redfish have been caught. You know,
Well,
it's
I mean, it's interesting because they're worried about saltwater creatures in
Yes.
saltwater, but they've seemed to adapt it to the diesel and oil that are in that ship channel from all the ships. So I don't know.
well,
Just
not
an
to
un-
mention-
just
never
an
see
un-
anybody fishing in the ship.
No,
channel, that's for
absolutely
sure.
not. But there
Much
seems to be an
better
ecosystem there.
than Baffin Bay. I thought, you know, I knew when I first read about, oh, we're just going to pump it into Baffin Bay. I was like, well, wait a minute. For somebody, this is a for-profit project. Let's let them kind of slow their amortization and go ahead and run a pipeline on out to the Gulf. You know,
Right.
you don't want to ruin arguably the last pure fishery in our state. But
Sure.
you know that everything you do, for example, we're down here in Point Comfort, and the president and Michael Cloud has really been a champion. But the president has supported the deepening of the port in Calhoun County, and
Right.
they're just trying to get it so that the ships literally don't bounce off the bottom of the ditch trying to get back through the jetties.
Right.
And all of a sudden, it really mattered when they said, "Look, we're going to pump all this sludge or pump all this dirt and soil, sand out of the bottom of the ditch, and we're going to add to Bird Island, which is a protected Audubon funded and supported estuary. We're going to double the size of that island for y'all for free." Well, all of a sudden, the Audubon people are like, you know, hey, happy days are here again. We're all behind this project. And it's Corpus just needs some kind of champion like that, because you hear people, I mean, on the daily down there, are people telling you, hey, take a shorter shower? Hey, you know, I mean, is there personal responsibility advertising going on in your area?
Oh yeah, absolutely. When I was on the council, we started then advertising conservation of water. You know, getting your plumbing fixtures updated, doing the things that you can do. Only watering your yard in the evenings and not during the daytime when the evaporation rates are high. But now, because of the water shortage, we haven't been able to water our yards now in months. My my yard's beginning to look like a parking lot, and so all kinds of things. We've asked the refineries to cut back on their water usage. They've all implemented water savings plans, and some of them have begun to drill their own water wells inside their refinery boundaries, and everybody's trying to do something, but the ultimate goal would be, okay, if we can get this desal plant restarted, if the council will come to their senses and vote to support the mayor on getting this thing restarted, then we can go ahead and finish the permitting on the water wells and begin to utilize that water on a temporary basis until we get that plant finished. And then once we get the desal plant online, we can look at diversifying to other water sources. They're working on a big project up in San Patricio County called the Evangeline Project, where we're going to make a deal with the people who own the water rights there to buy upwards of 20 to 25 million gallons of water, groundwater a day from that area. But they haven't drilled any wells yet there, and so that would be a project that would be another 1.5 or 2 years away.
Is that some of the concern from those that are helping out? Is that some of these temporary measures might end up being permanent measures even after the desal plant comes on board, or if it comes on board?
That's the concern from these ranchers and whatnot. In fact, the Evangeline process has run into a problem because the city of Sinton, who's been buying water out of that Evangeline field for years, that's their primary source of water for Sinton, Texas. They have threatened to file a suit against the city of Corpus Christi if they go in and start depleting that water zone. And so there's a big brouhaha now going on between the city of Corpus Christi and the city of Sinton over the water rights in the Evangeline field.
One of our smart aleck listeners said maybe Corpus Christi could hire County Judge Lena Hidalgo to steal someone's water. I want to give you a compliment and share with you that aren't you proud that neither your county judge nor our county judge was dumb enough to go
my
down
God.
and say, I deserve to be on the floor at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, and then turn around and say, they're only picking on me because I'm a woman of color. I'm like, are you kidding me? You're just a bonehead.
She's got to be the most, I have a lot of friends, close friends that are, on the other side of the fence politically, Democrats. And I've told them, sure to God, y'all can find somebody better than
Right.
her to
Jasmine
be.
Crockett's available. Get her in there.
Yeah, get Jasmine in there. And so
Unbelievable.
it's just unbelievable what she did at that rodeo the other day, and put those people in bad light, and all they're trying to do is bring entertainment to the city of Houston and Harris County,
Absolutely.
and it's just a mess. Anyway,
We went last night, my wife and two boys, we went to see Chris Stapleton. And I told Ash this morning, it's too soon. It's too soon for me to tell you if I had a good time, because the worst thing about going to the rodeo is parking. Even with the green parking pass, it's terrible. And then that's the worst thing until you come out and you have to leave. That's the
And you
worst.
sit there forever.
It's just tough.
Johnny McGarity asked that the brine water is so concentrated that the concern is sea life will swim into the heavy water and not be able to survive getting into it because it's so super concentrated. Is that a legitimate concern?
well, it's a legitimate concern, but as I said, we have done 6 different far field model studies by 3 different engineering companies who have said that that's not going to happen. And here's the other thing that everybody keeps forgetting. Our permit from TCEQ requires that we continuously monitor the water saturation levels in the inner harbor as we're producing water out of it, to make sure that we're not doing something on a continuous basis that's going to bring harm to the bay system. So it requires us to make sure that we don't do anything, and people keep losing sight of that. Now, what has happened versus the example you gave a while ago of the Audubon Society coming out in support of this, what's happened to Corpus Christi is there's a group here called the Campaign for the Environment. And this is a group that's funded from outside the state of Texas. They're radical environmentalists, and they hire professional, dedicated protesters who come down to our council meetings every week. They did the whole 4 years I was there, and get up in front of the council during open forum and talk about all the bad things that this desal plant's going to do. Now, I even went to some of their meetings. They didn't realize who I was. I went before I was elected to the city council, and here's their deal. They don't care about the water situation. They as far as the desal plant, they really don't. That's not their interest. Their goal is to eliminate the oil and gas industry and the petrochemical industry.
Well, and look what's happened in California. The environmental concerns over the oil and gas industry in California, they've gone from having 42 refineries to 8.
Yep.
They now import anywhere between 60 and 70% of their oil from places like Iraq. They used to import it from Iran before we banned them from doing so. And this is the reason why. And they still have a water shortage. So it hasn't solved the problems that they were trying to solve. It's just created more and compounded them in California.
Yep.
It still
Well, that's
does.
what this group wants to do here. They want our petrochemical industry out of business.
Yeah,
They
it's
want
not
them
going to
gone.
happen in Texas. I still think that this is a small enough issue at the federal level, given all the waste, the obvious waste that we see, that this should be a deal. And I would bypass Governor Abbott on this if I were Donald Trump and just say, I'm coming down, I'm sending the Corps of Engineers, and we're going to build this plant with rapid pace. It's a matter of national security, and we're going to build a plant that'll do 50 million gallons a day, and it'll be online by the end of 27. I think it's a major issue that ought to just be handled.
To-
Well,
to
and that's absolutely, you're absolutely correct. And, you know, when the council was, this current council was considering canceling the Inner Harbor desal project, I called several of them and I said, look, you know, keep the project going and we'll go find the money. I said, I think the state of Texas will step up and grant us money. I think we can go to the federal government
Right.
with the Trump administration and get money. I said, we'll find the money. I said, just don't kill the project. And I said, and here's the, and of course you've got one council member on the council who keeps screaming to the top of his lungs that, oh, we're going to acquire so much debt that it's going to bankrupt the city. But what he doesn't tell the truth about is the desal water and the water that we will create. We get into what's called a blended cost. So if God once again fills our lake reservoirs up, we get these wells drilled out here, we get the desal plant online, and we get Lake Texana continues to be online, we will blend all that water together to reduce the overall cost of it because, you know, your lake reservoirs, that's your cheapest water. Then, you know, you go down, but you get a blended cost and you get the cost of it down to where, you know, you may raise the rates up for everybody a little bit, but you don't have to strangle the citizens or the residential customers with the cost of the water. But they just couldn't bring themselves to do that, and so they killed the project.
Well, I tell you what, Mike, we've got a handful of housekeeping things to do on this end. But first of all and foremost, thank you so much for your accessibility and for your willingness to come on and just talk so candidly with us. You and I had not spoken prior to this, and I really appreciate your time. I'd like to reserve the right to reach out again because Ash and I are going to watch this. I don't know if you know, but we're on KTMV there locally, and we're negotiating to be on another FM channel down there, and we'd like to be able to keep Corpus and Nueces County at the forefront also of our program. So,
but this is an issue that impacts us because Lake Texana is on the verge of drying up, and so it's an issue. And you know, if we ended up sending some of our treated gray water off somewhere, it could impact this region who relies on that. So this isn't just a Corpus Christi issue. This is a regional and statewide issue because the state's facing a water shortage.
Amen.
Very similar. So we appreciate your time this morning, Michael. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
I'm glad to do it. And anytime, just call and I'll be happy to participate.
Hey, I appreciate you, sir. Thank you. That's Mike Pusley, County Commissioner, Nueces County, and it seems to be a really fine guy. Like I said, hats off to anybody who's willing to come on the program and say, ask me anything.
Yeah.
I mean, good for him. So I really, really appreciate his time. Maybe next time we can Zoom him in.
Yeah, we probably could.
Put him in the
Get
Zoom.
Yeah. He may not want to get up
might.
and shower.
It's early.
You know,
Yeah.
he could just put a hat on like me. Johnny McGarity says, good job bringing him up to the microphone and a good conversation. We
Thank you,
appreciate that
Johnny.
feedback. Thank you very much. I mean,
And thanks, Torn Bales, for helping us indirectly. He hooked us up to get a hold of that gentleman. So.
appreciate the conversation. Always good to learn more.
And I don't know. I mean, I get it. I don't want fish to die. And in an ideal world, you would have the ability to take it way out in the Gulf and spray it out.
It's only money.
Right, but at the same time, nobody's fishing in the port. And he said that after you're 100 yards from the discharge, it's dissipated. I've got to go with the science, right? I mean, you got. Here's the deal: if you're not careful, there'll be a sign at what used to be Corpus that says they all died to protect the red darter. You know, at some point you got to put people first.
Yeah.
And Peter McNally, a longtime Cody, I asked, are you a Corpus Christian or are you a Corpus Christian? Anyway, people from Corpus, Peter McNally is one of the premier
Corpus
people.
I.
He's a Corpus I. Yeah. Hey, let's take a break. Number one, I'll tell you what, without these sponsors, you don't get to hear this because you ain't hearing it nowhere else. White Trash Services. White Trash Services for all your trash pickup needs. Pretty simple. It's in the name. They'll come pick it up. I mean, whether you need a roll-off dumpster, whether you need weekly trash service in anywhere within our earshot, there you go. Oh, Brian Small picks up the pun. He's well respected. Yeah.
Nice.
I tell you who's going to like that desal plants, those Nueces County irrigation farmers who are worried about their crops. How about that? Chesnick Furniture, Chesnick and Love make your house a home. Get in and see why you just always do better at Chesnick. Today's a great day to do it, but tomorrow morning would be even better. Get in and see Bobby Leon and his family and see what you've got. I mean, you're going to walk in there, I guarantee it, and find something you want. Parvita Wellness and the Vita Cafe. Absolutely there to make you healthier. Get in and get healthy. Parvita this weekend, you can go to a brunch on Saturday or Sunday at the Vita Cafe. Great food, great fare, good for you. Get over and enjoy it. And then the office is at 205. We think we're almost booked, but you owe it to yourself to come check it out.
You really do.
John Paul Hall and James Geets did a great job renovating with care, keeping the historical. We have transom windows, a beautiful building. Come see us anytime. Love to have you.
And don't forget Assenoffer, our studio sponsor. My used car of the week is a 2024 Chevy Malibu 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. Great gas mileage, perfect for the kid that's going off to college.
Absolutely.
Under $19,000.
It's only got 45,000 miles on it.
that's
It's
it.
perfect. This car's not even broken in.
Not yet, no. And free car washes for life, free tire rotations for life, and 1926 off of oil changes
You
as
buy
well.
it, we'll put a Wade and Carter sticker on the back, and you'll never get a ticket
Absolutely.
as long as you drive the speed limit. There you go. So we're almost to the top of the hour. The First State Bank of Louise. Astros update. Tell us, Ash.
What do you want to know?
Putting the pressure on you. No, I don't know. The Astros lineup looking pretty well set. You're looking at Christian Walker to start the year at first base. Jose Altuve will be at second. Carlos Correa is going to be at short, and Isaac Paredes will be at third. Astros benefiting from that extra infielder that we all agreed we didn't need.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Now we need him. I'm really looking forward to seeing Carlos back at short for a while. I think it's nice. He won't have to play there all year. He should give it all he's got.
Yeah.
Very excited.
World Baseball Classic, U.S. and Canada tonight, 7 o'clock on Fox. Korea and the Dominican playing in the other quarterfinal match today. And then tomorrow it's Puerto Rico and Italy and Venezuela and Japan.
Callie Fromey says, wait. How about a Victoria 100 Club sticker? The contest is still underway.
Put your sticker on your vehicle, take a selfie, post it.
Yep.
Get a chance to win some great prizes.
You buy a lifetime membership and tell them Wade and Carter sent you, we're going to get you a custom handmade snakeskin bracelet
They've got the snakeskin.
by the artist formerly known as Travis. Yeah. Totally agree.
Yeah, well, we didn't even get. Apparently, Iran has attacked a U.S. tanker in the Gulf and hit a few other ships. 4 service members died today when early this morning, a U.S. Refueling jet went down in the region.
I did hear.
Not from any fire.
Right. That's what I was going to tell you. I did hear that it was the guy that said it was very thoughtful, and he said it's just one of the unfortunate consequences of being in a very dangerous business. It had nothing to do with the war itself. It was an aerial refueling, and that aircraft crashed in western Iraq.
Yeah.
So
Meanwhile, the latest Ayatollah Mojtabi Khamenei. I don't even honestly. I usually worry about pronunciations. I don't care. This guy is evil and wants death to us, so why should I care if I pronounce his name properly? But anyway, he's being defiant.
he's on the list to be eradicated.
And it says the Strait of Hormuz must remain closed for leverage and has vowed to retaliate against anyone who they deem responsible for Iranians that are killed in this conflict. So there you go, folks. Death to the infidel.
Can you go back to that?
Yeah.
Today's lesson that there's no personal responsibility anymore. The Texas Supreme Court is weighing whether a young woman can still sue a psychologist who approved her breast removal surgery. The case could open the door to lawsuits by those whose cases may have been blocked by the statute of limitations. So you decide that you want to be a man, you're mentally ill enough to go in and lop your boobs off, and now you want to sue the doctor who said, well, how do you feel? Do you identify as a man?
Sue the American Psychiatric Association or whatever, because they're the ones who put peer pressure and basically forced those who said, wait a second, this is a mental illness. This isn't a gender.
Yeah.
They forced them. They basically told them, like, if you don't come along with us,
Yep.
you're going to be out of practice.
We're going to ostracize you.
Yep.
We're going to dox you. Folks, it's the top of the hour. And I tell you what a great week we've had. And thank you for pulling us through 5 more shows. We love you guys and hope you have a great weekend. Be safe on the roads. Don't forget Allen's Wrecker Service if you need them.
Have a great weekend.
Bye, folks. Thank you, Atzenhofer. You're the best studio sponsor on the planet.
And we'll see you all Monday. Bye, folks.